All right, peace and blessings, and welcome to another episode of YB's Collaboration Corner in conjunction with Self-Publishing 30 Days. I'm your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days, and your LinkedIn locksmith. I have the distinguished pleasure of having on YB's Collaboration Corner one of my chamber colleagues, Amy DuFour. Amy is someone that I've had the pleasure of working with for about 2 years now. We're about 2 years into our time on the Chesterfield Chamber board of directors, and so excited about that. And I am excited because this is Amy's very first podcast interview. I knew I was just gonna make that public, make that known. You gotta put the time stamp on it. But Amy, welcome to YB's Collaboration Corner. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm excellent.
Love it. I love it.
I'm excited to be here. Well, I can't believe you got me here.
I'm excited to have you here. And I'll tell you, the main reason why I wanted to have you on is because the purpose of YB Connects, or YB's Collaboration Corner, is to focus on movers and shakers, right? People who are leaders in their respective industries, respective fields, that understand the power of connection and collaboration. And that's something that you're not a stranger to. And also want to give you an opportunity to shine. You know what I'm saying? You're the chairwoman of our chamber. So I want to give you an opportunity to shine. So I think you're going to do well. You have a great personality. I love every time we get a chance to talk. But I think there's some things that's on your heart that people should know about you. And I want to start out by saying, tell us about yourself. Give us a little bit of your background in terms of where you're from, because everybody's from someplace. So tell us where you're from, and get into a little bit of the industry that you're currently in.
Okay. So I am from right here in Richmond, Virginia. As exciting as that is. I was born and raised here, grew up here. I have 3 children, 3 daughters who are grown now. They're in their mid to late 20s. And I actually started, so I'm director of marketing for Capital Ale House and Fest Beer Garden. I also serve as chairwoman for the Chesterfield Chamber Board of Directors, along with you, YB. And I also sit on the board for the YMCA Swift Creek. It's an advisory board. So it's all very different experiences, one from the other. I kind of got into this, but I've been with Capital Ale House for 19 years now, but I kind of got into this when I had my first child. I was working at a medical supply company. And when I had her, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't leave her, with a babysitter all day for all of these fears and anxieties that I had with being a new mom. So I decided to go into the hospitality industry because it allowed flexible hours. And I made great money and had so much fun. It was not only just the flexible hours and being able to stay home with my children when I needed to and take them to all the things that they needed to go to, but I got to meet so many new people, and I made so many regulars that became friends and coworkers that just kind of lasted. And that's where I met Matt, who is the owner of Capital Ale House, all that time ago in that first job, right after having my first child. And now here we are together, still together 28 years later. So it's been a wonderful experience, but that's how I've kind of come to where I am now.
Yeah, that's great. And that's a great kickoff, because that's a major example of how collaboration created currency for you, right? So most people think currency is just money. But in this context, currency can be money, it could be relationships, it can be ideas, it can be information. So as a result of connecting with someone and creating that collaboration, there becomes mutual benefit. So for the sake of folks who may not live in Richmond, Virginia, tell everybody, what is Capital Ale House and the Fest Gardens? Tell us a little bit about those two entities.
So Capital Ale House is locally owned and operated full service restaurant. We have an American food and kind of a German food focus. We have a focus on local food, local craft beer, but we also have craft beer that's, national and international as well, with many taps. Fest Beer Garden is kind of a spinoff on our favorite event that we did every year, Oktoberfest. So it's a fast casual out in Midlothian, and it has a German focus. It has a giant Bavarian style beer garden outside with communal tables where people can talk to each other, even though they may not know each other, with flowers and German centric food and German beers, along with local beers as well. But it's a lot of fun. It's a very, very neighborhood bar. We do have 6 locations, 6 Capital Ale House locations across Virginia now, and it's a lot of fun.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk about success, right? How do you define success, and how have you found success in your current industry?
That is a great question. So I think success for a lot of people, I think, is, the job title, a promotion, getting a raise, things like that. And those are all very important. And those are all great things. And it's important to have goals and accomplish them and then set another goal higher. But for me, where I am now in my career and in my life, and the age that I am, for me, having the experiences that I've had, success is being able to show up as my authentic self in all the spaces that I'm in. And as cliche as that may sound, I know it's cliche, but it took a lot of practice to get here. And, years and years and years ago, when I first started networking and trying to collaborate and get out of my, office at work or whatever, it was a male dominated professional industry. All of them were, all the networking events were very male dominated. So have you ever heard of Imposter Syndrome?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I had that a lot, when I first started branching out and networking is my, do I fit that professional mold?
Right.
Is my vernacular okay? Am I articulate enough? Is my work experience enough? And then I just kind of learned, like, I gotta be me.
Yeah.
I can't bring to you 100% without me being me. So if that means I'm a hand talker, I don't know why, I just am. I'm a hand talker.
Yeah.
I'm a chatter. I smile. I have a high energy,
Yeah.
a high vibration, and I enjoy things. I enjoy meeting new people. I'm going to enjoy our conversation, and I'm going to look to learn things from you that I may not know. Why, you were always teaching me some catchphrase or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, always. So I love that. For me, that makes me want to be around those people that kind of have that same energy, and it's going to attract those people to you.
Yeah.
So for me now, success is just being able to be authentically myself in professional work and in personal spaces.
I love that so much because, it is so important to be authentically you, because if you're focused on being someone else, it can be draining emotionally, spiritually, even financially. It just, you're attempting to what they call, keep up with the Joneses, right? So you want to be like everybody else. But in your case, what you're saying is success for you has just been allowing yourself to be authentic. And that's beautiful, because what it is that you're playing your game, right? You're playing your game. You're not playing anybody else's game. You're playing your game. And when you play your game, you're bound to win, because you're bringing certain skills that allows you to play at your best. And I think that's great. Let's get into this whole talk of collaboration though. So you gave the example of how you met the owner of Capital House as you were getting into the hospitality industry. What is your definition of collaboration, Amy?
Ooh. Collaboration is just any time that we can partner and for a common goal, whether it be, and it might not even be right then when we meet each other, it might be later on down the road, but making all of these connections that will serve you and serve me. I don't mean to say it like, I make these connections so they can serve me, but there is a value that I have knowing you, and vice versa. I have something reciprocal to give to you as well.
Right.
And when you can collaborate, you can, work together to get things done. You can crush your goals. You can, you never know, you might find a new passion out of it even, But for example, like the chamber board, it's like you have all of these, you're in a room full of all these business people, these business leaders with diverse backgrounds and coming from different business sectors,
Mhm.
and they're all coming together for the greater good to accomplish the goals to help elevate the businesses in Chesterfield County. So
Right.
it's wonderful, and it might be something in-house or in our department, like say the marketing department, and my marketing manager Carrie, we'll collaborate on a marketing project, because she has talents and skills that I do not possess, and she's going to bring new ideas. She's going to have fresh ideas, and it's nice to have. I try to look for, a lot of times, yes, we want to have some things in common, but I also try to look for people that I may not necessarily have a whole lot in common, because that's how I can learn. I
Right.
can learn from those people. I can learn what their passions are, what their thoughts are, what their goals are, and how did they get there. And there's always something to take away from someone else, from an interaction.
Yeah. 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 You talked about, the catchphrases, right? So I remember what actually served as the catalyst for my invitation. We were at the golf tournament, annual golf tournament, and we were just talking, and I said, it would be good to have you on the podcast, and you just gave me this look like, what, so talk about the work that you've done, and how you got to become the chairwoman of the Chesterfield Chamber, because I think most people that are listening to this are either aspiring authors, or they're already authors, or they're leaders in their own right, but they may have never considered becoming a leader within a local chamber. Talk a little bit about your experience and how collaboration created currency for you in this current role.
Oh, this current role is amazing. It's a lot of work. There's a past chair that calls it a part-time job, which I can definitely relate to. It's a lot of fun, and what an amazing experience I have. So it started out with, I joined the chamber and immediately got involved. I went to different committee meetings, and I found one that really spoke to me, CHAMPS, which is the Chamber Helping Achieve Meaningful Partnerships in Schools. So it's kind of the liaison between Chesterfield County businesses and the local schools, the Chesterfield County schools. And we would go in and teach, soft skills basically to students who, I don't like the term at risk. I like the term at potential. Saw it in a TED talk, and it resonated with me because it's true. So that was kind of my passion, these kids, and it was so much fun, and it was amazing. And I ended up vice chairing and then chairing that committee. And I actually chaired it for kind of 2 years. And that just kind of morphed into my role on the board. And I was nominated for that. And as you know, you get interviewed and you get accepted. And then it just kind of, I was on the executive committee. And so I just kind of, it stair-stepped up. I was always taking the next step up. It was scary. It was terrifying. It was, am I really ready for this? Is this something that I can do successfully? Because it's not just me, it's a team, it's a collaboration. But being able to work alongside yourself and the other board members, are you kidding me? It's been an amazing opportunity, a fantastic opportunity. So, professionally here, you've got me on my very first podcast ever, your podcast, and another board member, I cycled 110 miles with him a couple weekends ago for the MS Society. So that kind of collaboration happened on a personal level, but it all came from my board experience. And then I have to give a shout out to Danielle, the chamber president. She is a powerhouse. I don't know when she sleeps, but being able to work alongside her, peer to peer, I have learned so much from that woman, and I really look up to her, and she's incredible. And so with that, what an amazing experience I'm having right now. It's incredible. And I'm going to be a little sad when it's over, but I know it's going to be for the next person. But it's just been incredible to work with everyone.
The beautiful thing about what you said, there's about 2 or 3 things that you said that was beautiful. Number one was the added benefits of being connected to a board, right? So, yes, we work hard, we play hard, but if you allow yourself to make that connection with other members, your whole world begins to change. Like you're describing that now, right? Like, would you have gone on a 100+ mile bike ride if you weren't in a, in a board position or being on your first podcast? So it's beautiful things that come about from collaboration. But talk about some of the challenges or things that you see people do just like incorrectly when it comes to networking or collaboration. Like, have you seen any people just go a totally different direction and it just didn't work out? Or has everything kind of been sunshine and rainbows with regards to networking your experience?
It is never sunshine and all sunshine and rainbows. I love to network, but networking, it was explained to me when I first joined the chamber, and we had an ambassador, which is a role that you serve for the board, and we really appreciate you for it. But it was explained to me that networking should be like farming and not hunting. And you're there to meet people, you're there to be seen. So, and you're not there to sell. Nobody wants to be sold to. I know you and I know what your business does. And when there's a need, or if there's someone else who has a need, I am happy to reach out at that point. I'm happy to connect you.
Yes.
But nobody wants to go and be sold to. And with, even my marketing brain, people, you just have to be seen. You have to be in front of people. You are your own brand. Whether you own your own business or not, you are representing yourself and your brand. And you just need to be in those circles, in the rooms, having conversations, and that will create trust. And people want to do business with people, not with brands. And people want to do business with people they trust.
Right.
So it's really important to just get out there and talk to people. And also don't be the person standing in the corner who's afraid to get out and talk to somebody. I tell you, if you ever see me at a networking event, just
I'm
come
gonna pull you.
find me.
I'm
I'm
gonna pull you. I'll pull you over. I'll say, what's going on? This is not like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're always in the mix. Similar to me, I'm always in the mix. So if you ever see me just standing in the corner, I must have a headache or something like that, because I love to get around people. As we begin to land the plane, I want to talk about you in terms of your current roles, right? So you talked about you from a personal perspective. You gave some insights on what you see as collaboration and how it creates currency for you. But who do you want to collaborate with? Say, for example, your ideal client or your ideal person that you want to collaborate with is listening to this podcast, which we're praying that they will be. Saying this thing's going to be international. You'll blow up like the atomic bomb, right? Who would you want to collaborate with? Like, it could be a person, it could be an organization. So if you had the opportunity to collaborate with anyone or a few people, who would they be?
I don't know that I would have anybody specific, because I'm so interested in other people and what they teach me. And it's not that I'm going to walk away with a new skill or something else, but like even our conversation at the golf tournament and listening to you talk about your transitions in your different roles and what speaks to you and your heart and why it does and how you're going about it. To me, that's fascinating. And I kept asking questions because I genuinely wanted to know. I look up to you. You're doing all the things that I think are important. You're constantly growing yourself. And those are the people that I want to be around. Those are the people that I want to collaborate with. People who are willing to grow professionally, personally, learn, try new things, be challenged, anybody who fits that mold. I mean, I know that's probably not as glamorous, as flashy as like picking someone specific, but really anybody that I can learn from and grow a little bit, people like yourself. And I think that's great.
I appreciate that. And I asked that question for a couple of reasons, because number one, you never know who is listening in on our conversation, right? So I tell people, especially those who are just getting started in the podcasting space, a podcast is simply a conversation between two or more people, and other people get a chance to listen in on it, right? And so it's also a strategic move from a marketing perspective, right? Because this is your opportunity, or my opportunity in essence, to talk to a person that I want to work with and get their attention if they're already listening, right? So for example, I use this platform as a means of interviewing people that I would love to help become published authors, right? I even shared this with you. As a matter of fact, your daughter walked up, right? It's like everyone has a story on the inside of them, but somebody needs to come in and say, hey, have you ever thought of becoming an author? And the challenge for most people is that they look at this process as being super daunting, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I could never be an author. Well, before you were a mom, you probably couldn't imagine yourself being a mom either, right? But you gave birth to 3 beautiful daughters, right? So it's oftentimes someone coming in to encourage you to say, hey, this is possible, this is what you want to do. So I love having guests on that can speak to that, simply because you only get one chance to make a first impression, right? You can make multiple other impressions, but you never get a second chance to make a first impression. But I love your answer, because your focus is on the people. Now, let me ask this question. This is not on the list of questions that I sent you. This is one of those curveballs. Have you ever taken the DISC assessment before?
I have.
Okay, so if I had to guess, which one was your top behavioral style? I would say you're high I. Would that be on point?
That is on point.
Okay, good.
Exactly it. Exactly it. I mean,
we can recognize each other, especially when you talk with your hands and all that other stuff. You get excited.
Yep.
And I think the beautiful thing about that is we make people feel comfortable, right? We invite people in. If we see somebody, like we said, standing in the corner, we're the first to want to collaborate with people. Oddly enough, though, our biggest challenge is not allowing others to serve us, right? So we want to be the ones that serve, support, but not allowing other people to serve us. So I just want you to know that I appreciate your willingness to allow me to serve and support you. Like this is definitely mutually beneficial. Obviously, I love to have guests, but I want to have meaningful guests who can add value to the listeners, and you've added tremendous value today. I mean, as we wrap up, tell us anything else that's on your heart that you want to describe in terms of your experience, whether it be something about your organizations that you work with. What are some things that maybe last minute words that you want to share that would add value to our listeners?
I would just say maybe, don't be afraid to try new things. You have to be challenged to grow. It's scary. But being on a podcast for the first time made me nervous. And it was something that I had been asked to do before. And I was like, oh, thanks, but no, because, you get insecure, you get nervous. It's new territory for me.
Yeah.
But I did it. It just like with being, on the board of the chamber and being the board woman helped me in my role land for being on the board of the Y, which really, they're all volunteer roles, but the Y is a passion of mine with the community work that we do there. It's incredible, but it's also an avenue to grow my social wealth and being around these other business leaders in the community. It's an incredible experience. So you have to go for it. Don't be afraid to try new things. Get out there and do it.
Yeah. So here's another curveball for you. Obviously, we are self-published in 30 days. We focus on helping people become published authors. So when the time comes, because I'm speaking into existence, when the time comes for you to put your first book together, and you could go anywhere in the world to write it, and my team and I, we were covering the expenses, right? Where would you go? If you could go anywhere in the world to write your first book, where would you go?
I am a big fan of Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Northwest area, all of that. It's beautiful. It's, everyone's very friendly, but it's beautiful. It's peaceful. You can kind of connect and clear your mind, and it's very outdoorsy, fresh air. The food is fresh and great, and everything's sustainable, and they're all, environmentally aware of everything. And it's a wonderful place. Tons of hiking and skiing and all of that. And I feel like if I had to go sit somewhere and just think, that would be a very peaceful place to be.
You know what? Out of everyone that I've interviewed, and I've had quite a few interviews over the last 2 years, you're the first person to mention Vancouver. So I think that's great. And I live vicariously through people. Like I've had people talk about Bali, Africa. One of my fraternity brothers, he said, just drop me off anywhere in Africa. I say anywhere, because Africa is a continent. He said, drop me anywhere in Africa, right? I've had people talk about different islands, different places, but Vancouver's been the first. So because you're my first, well, I'm your first podcast experience. You're the first one to tell me Vancouver. So I want to celebrate that with you. So how can people find you, Amy, if they wanted to collaborate with you? Like they want to learn more about your hospitality experience, what you do for Capital L. Maybe they have aspirations of becoming, director of marketing, or even what does it take to be successful, a chairwoman for a major chamber. How can people find you?
Yeah, well, they can find me on LinkedIn, Amy DuFour. They can also, my email is amy at, it's really hard, capitalalehouse.com. And I'm also on the website, capitalalehouse.com. And I'm out there. They can find me in the chamber. They can find me at the Y. They can find me with YB. I'm out there, so I'm easy to track down. But yeah, I would love for anyone to reach out. I love talking to new people and meeting new people. So please do, don't be shy.
I'm telling you, folks, as you're listening and you're watching, don't listen. When people say reach out, they really mean it. Like I had a gentleman, one of my mentors, and I've talked to you about him, Eric Thomas. One of the things that he taught me was, 98% of people never follow up, right? So he goes around and he gives out his phone number. Now, keep in mind, he's a motivational speaker. He travels all over the world. He gives out his phone number. And he's like, 98% of people will never follow up. Well, guess who was the one who did follow up? Me, right?
You.
And I had the pleasure of, I went to a retreat this past weekend, and I had a chance to talk to E on the phone, right? Because I sent him a message, told him I was in this very beautiful place, thought about him, whatever. And he calls me back, and then I send him a picture of the location that I was at, which was pretty cool, right? So you all are listening, like she said, reach out. Now, make sure you reach out and it be productive though. Don't just say, hey, I like your hair. Like, no, like let's talk about something productive, right? And
Yeah.
make sure that when you do reach out, you let her know that you heard her on YB's Collaboration Corner, her first podcast interview. We're gonna give her a shout out for that. And we're super grateful. But as we wrap up, I want you all to remember that in every adversity, there's a seed of an equal or greater benefit, but only for the mind that is positive. And what does that mean? That means that whatever you go through, that adversity is actually the catalyst for you to get to your next level. So as you listen to these podcasts and you listen to people's stories and you get connected, understand that it is the collaboration that allows for people to overcome their adversity as well. So continue to collaborate, continue to press forward, be encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, be faithful over the gifts that you've been given, because your gifts will make room for you. We'll see you on the next episode of YB's Collaboration Corner. Peace.